Davis. It's an honor to have you on the Character Matters show. You both hold very prestigious positions within the Rockford Park District, with Dr. Sandine being the executive director and you being the operations director. So tell me, how did you know that you wanted to serve our community? We can get started with you.
Well, I was born into this industry. My dad and my grandpa were both in Parks and Recreation. And so I literally was born into the recreation of serving others through recreation. And so I really didn't have a choice. I was born into it, but moving to Rockford as a young man at 19 and coming and working for the Park District, I quickly learned that it was an amazing organization that matched who I was and how I grew up, and just taking care of people and building relationships and then loving to serve. So it was kind of a meant to be thing for me.
Ms. Davis, how did you know you wanted to serve the community?
I have to echo Jay here with this one. So my parents, honestly, I was born into it. My mother, she was an educator. My father, he was a pastor. So that servant leadership that we all have here with the district, when I say I was literally born with it, I was born with it, from seeing my mother going to get all of her students. She used to always call them my bright stars. So, I used to always know, we're going, if we're getting in the car, we're taking that left, we're going to get her bright stars. So, she had this giving spirit. Likewise with my father, he was always there. People would call him, ask for prayer. He would literally, doesn't matter what he was doing, he would get up. Because at that point, what I learned from both my parents is that, it's a privilege to wake up every day. And with that privilege comes great responsibility. So, that's what it is. I have great responsibility. We have great responsibility. And it's just something that's really just ingrained in me at this point.
That's beautiful. My father is also a pastor, so I can definitely understand being born into serving people and for it just being in your nature. What have been some of your favorite experiences working with the Park District?
There's so many, but I have to say that I was blessed to take on the aquatics department. So our aquatics department is Alpine Pool, Harkins Aquatic Center, and also Sand Park Pool. And for a young girl, I've spent maybe closer to 21 years with this park district. And a lot of my tenure has been centered around youth, teen, and family programming by way of after-school programs, summer camp, outreach events, specialty programs, things like that. But, in 2019, I learned a lot about myself. Beyond knowing the department, because I still can't swim. But that's neither here nor there. But, beyond learning the department, I learned a lot about myself. And, I was very much scared to take on that project because I had no idea what it was. Yeah, I know swimming pools, but it's so much beyond just swimming pools, when you really think about it and when you really get into the operations. But, I learned that sometimes it's okay to just take a leap of faith. And for me, that's what I did. And thankfully, I had a village around me, this wonderful park district, that, they were going to help build me up too. And, when I had questions, they were always there. But I have to say, in 2019, taking on that project, taking on that department, really showed me another level of, what's the word I'm looking for? Drive and determination. Because once I took it on, I knew I had to succeed. That was the only choice. Once I put my name on it, I got that. Then the only other option is to do my very best to help it succeed, and that's what I did. I think I did all right, boss.
So on that note, what has been your experience with the Rockford Park District, and what has been the impact that you have made?
Honestly, Trinity, my favorite part about working for the Park District is all the relationships and the people that I'm blessed with them coming into my life. It's kind of weird. I think Derricka said it a few times too. I feel like it's like we're getting more out of working for the Park District than the community that we're serving and everything. It's a two-way street. It's a blessing to work for the Park District because we get to, I think you know, I always said this too, we're an organization that truly gets to be in all corners of our community, all areas of our community. And I feel bad sometimes there's a lot of industries or workplaces that they're either on one part of town or they're confined to a building or a cubicle. We get the blessing. Our office is the entire community, every square inch of this community. And because of that, we get to meet some of the most incredible people of all walks of life, and they become literally part of our family. You know, I mean, I have a little bit more years than Derricka. I've got close to 30 years, but I can tell you that the closest people in my life today, outside of my immediate family, came from this organization. Came from, it was a customer at first, and it became an advocate, and it became a friend, and it became family. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I consider you part of that family, and Mr. C. And we're blessed to be able to have just every day, every year, there's new people that come into our lives at this park district, and I love it. A few favorite moments. It's really hard to say, you know, all the favorite moments in 30 years, but I know that there's some images that will always be in my head for the rest of my life. One of them is 2004 when we renovated James Leslie Harkins Aquatic Center. And that was at the time an 80-year swimming pool. That was Fairgrounds pool. I think it was 1920s that it was first opened. But when we renovated that pool, and Miss Marva Brown, who's the grandmother of James Leslie, rolled up her pant legs and walked out into that zero depth entry and touched that water and literally started giggling like a young girl going out to a pool for the very first time. I will always remember that moment. When we cut the rib on the Unity Pavilion out at Levings, you know, that was a dream that started back in the late 1980s. And so to be able to cut the ribbon on that stage and see that used, it was an absolutely amazing moment. Anytime a kid, you get to see them swim for the first time, skate for the first time, make that first basketball shot, get on that horse for the first time, tackle their fears. Those are all little moments that will be forever etched in my mind. And just seeing people succeed, especially young people, seeing you, Trinity, how you're just growing, you're dynamic, you blow me away. I was nowhere near where you're at. I was publishing a book, you know, being just a leader in this community. That is the joy that I get, is just seeing other people succeed. We're a very back row organization. We talk about that, how we like to be in the back row. I love seeing people get on that stage and succeed. There's nothing that makes us happier.
Well, I can definitely say that the Park District has had a major impact on my life because I was born into it as well. All of my siblings up to like 40 years ago have grown up in the Park District, and they've become wonderful people because of the Park District. And I've been going to Washington Park Community Center since I was 4 or 5 years old, and I can definitely relate to the concept of them not just being participants or supervisors, but truly becoming family, because I'm able to see how they truly care for the community and how they want us to be our best selves. And so that's something that I definitely appreciate about the Park District, how you don't just look at us as residents, but you look at us as people who have emotions, who have feelings, and you take it to heart when they share some of their firsts with you, like learning how to swim or taking that first basket. It was truly an honor for me to it's still truly an honor for me to just be part of the Park District family, and it's even an honor to just sit down and interview people who have had such an amazing impact on the city. So on that note, speaking of work, it's been brought to my attention that back in 2021, the Park District gave Dr. Carl Cole the Distinguished Service Award and also welcomed him to host character workshops at some of the programs. So tell me, what exactly has been your experience working with Carl Cole and working with the S Club?
Okay. Wow, where do I begin? You know, I have spent several years working with the great Mr. Cole. I'm sorry, I know you said don't look at you, but I have to look at you on this one. And you know, what I have seen firsthand is how his music and his mentorship have literally changed the lives of our youth.
Yes.
And you know, he did it a couple different ways. You know, he's always going to be Mr. C. And you know, everybody needs a piece or a big piece of Mr. C, because what comes with it is consistency and positivity. And you know, I feel like in this day and age, that's really what our youth need more than anything. They need somebody to show up.
Yes.
And Mr. C, you always show up, and I appreciate you for that. Mr. C has a skill.
Yes.
And you know, to be able to infuse music with, oh, I'm going to teach you something today.
Exactly.
You know, I'm going to teach you about, you know, how you overcome obstacles, how you overcome challenges. And, you know, he just did that naturally. You know, it didn't seem like he had to really try to do it, excuse me. But, you know, he's very relatable. And, you know, he would hit him with, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry. He would talk about current events. So, you know, it wasn't just about, you know, what Mr. C came with. He was able to quickly adapt, change his plan based off of the feedback he was getting from the kids. So I just appreciate that. You know, he's a role model, and I think, you know, Mr. C has spent many years in this Rockford community, and he is Black history. You know, when I think about Black history, I think about Mr. C, and I think about you too, because he's shaping our next generation of leaders in the same breath. So.
Wow, that is definitely beautiful, and I definitely feel like he deserved the Distinguished Service Award, which has also been brought to my attention, is the highest award the Park District can award a citizen. I definitely feel that just caring for the community and serving others is truly just inside of him and inside of you all, because you're able to discuss not only how to have character excellence and positive energy, but you bring in current events and get people's feedback on, oh, how do you feel about this? And the Park District not only teaches people how to be their best selves, but also teaches them that their voice matters and that we're all in this together as a community. You can't spell community without unity, and that's something that Mr. Cole has taught me, and that's definitely something that I experience in the Park District. So what has been your experience with the Escort and Carl?
Well, you know, not to put my Carl Cole hat on. You know, I can't rhyme like he does with all these different words, but when I think of Mr. C, I think C is in standing for caring, number one. I don't know if I've ever had the privilege of working with anyone that truly cares about kids and community more than Mr. C. I think about the word community. He is for all. He's not about him. He's not about, it's every single person, doesn't matter who they are. And then my third C is consistent. I have known Mr. C for a very, very long time. And I have to tell you that he is the same person that I met decades ago. It's the same person that exists today. Very, very consistent in his love for this community. So we say it all the time. We do what we do best, and we help others do what they do best. Being able to just help support Mr. C with his efforts, his mission aligns with the mission of the Park District, helping people to enjoy life. It's really easy. That's the magic formula for the success of the Park District. It's not my Park District. It's not Ms. Davis's Park District. It's your Park District. It's Mr. C's Park District. It's the community's. And that's why our community loves the Park District so much, because they are the Park District. They're helping lead it. They're being a part of it. They're the ones that have taken us far. We can only, within our limited resources, take the Park District so far. It's the community that truly takes it to the level of a gold medal Park District of being the best park system in the United States.
I would definitely,
Does that make sense?
yes it does.
Yes.
And I would definitely say that to serve in the Park District and to serve the community takes extraordinary character. And to be able to just sit there and actually care about what our community is going through, and to actually care who they are as a person, that takes extraordinary character. And so on that note, I would just like to bring up a part of Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, where he said that it's the content of one's character that truly matters, especially in children. So I just want to know, as people with extraordinary character and with people who use that extraordinary character on their job and to relate to others, what does that statement mean to you?
I'll say this. I truly believe that strong character breeds strong individuals that then breeds strong communities. It all works together. And you know, when you have strong character, literally, I mean, the world is yours and you are the change agent. Once you have strong character, once you have character, you're the problem solver. You're the change agent in this community. So I think it all goes hand in hand. And I'm going to say it again. A strong character breeds a strong individual who then breeds a strong community.
That's beautiful. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
I hate following you. I need to do character. You know, character is character in good times and in challenging times.
Yes.
And I've been thinking a lot about that just personally lately of, you know, how sometimes we're only thankful when things go our way, right? And I've really been trying to, and I don't know if this is getting, because I'm getting older, or just trying to really think a little bit more on being thankful when things don't go your way. And we might not understand it at the time, but maybe down the road we will look back and say, I'm so happy I went through that challenging time. And I think that's really what defines true character, is how are we during adversity? How are we during conflict? How are we when people are not feeling good? I think that's the true mark of a character. I think about that. And the Park District, I think, is an organization that does a really good job, you know, when times are tough. You know, we've experienced that in 2020, for sure. You know, and I think that's a time when people come to the district and because they feel safe, and we know that, you know, for maybe that hour of a walk along the rec path, or an hour of going and playing golf, or doing whatever you love to do, you don't have to think about things that you're struggling with, you know. My dad always used to say that. He ran a state park. I grew up learning from my dad, and he always used to say to us kids, he'd always say, Jay, people are coming to the park to escape from whatever they're dealing with. It could be health issues, it could be financial crisis, it could be marital issues, it could be whatever. But when they come to us, they don't have to think about that. It's their escape. And I think that's really the position that I love the Park District being in, is being that safe place for people to come and recreate, re-energize, recreate. I mean, that's the base word of recreation. We are the renewal of life. That's what we do. And I think people in the community are starting to see that and realize that a little bit more, especially with this crazy world that we live in. We're reminded every day that we need our renewal of life, and I'm happy that we're able to provide that and have such amazing character leaders like Ms. Davis and partners like Mr. C. We have them all over the place, and there's no greater place to work than the Rockford Park District.
I agree. Yes, I can definitely say that I have learned a lot about myself growing up in Rockford Park District. I've learned what extraordinary character means, because the Park District teaches you how to do that physically, mentally, and spiritually. Like every single time I go to Washington Park Community Center, every single time I come to a Rockford Park District meeting, I'm just reminded of how great the community around me is and who the people are that allowed our community to grow and to flourish and to be as it is today. So on that note, I just wanted to ask you, where can you see the Character Matters show going? Because we highlight people with extraordinary character. We highlight people who have a bunch of wisdom to give to the community. So how do you feel the community will benefit off of the Character Matters show, and where do you see the show going?
Well, I think it's going to go as far as Miss Trinity wants it to go. I feel like when testimonies are powerful, so however you're able to deliver that, I think it's going to be, the people are going to be directly impacted from it. You know, sometimes we go through life hopeless and helpless because we are looking at whatever is going on in our life like, oh man, this is the worst thing that can happen. But when you know that somebody else went through it and they conquered it, and they're giving you the tools as to, how they came about it, and how they really managed to, I guess, not allow it to really take them out. That does a lot for a person. And I think, giving testimonies in very unique ways, because this is our world we live in, it's not a cookie cutter approach. There's so many different people here that want to hear the same message, but they receive it differently. Mm-hmm. And I think with your show, you can definitely make an impact with not only the youth, but, every person in this community. They want to hear stories. They want to hear how organizations are doing. So I think you can go as far as you want. And, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah. Well, Trinity, I would say right now, probably more than ever, that our community and our country and our world needs to see examples of how to do it, right? And I think your show, and the more that you can meet people and showcase great work that's happening, it gives people hope. It gives people a roadmap, an instructional manual. Oh, that's how you do it. Maybe I shouldn't have that perception of so-and-so, or maybe I should have more hope instead of fear. I think our world just needs more examples of how to do it. And what you're doing is how to do it, Trinity. And it really is. It's just, and to me, it's just about, building relationships, establishing trust. Once trust is established, we can do anything we want to. And we find out that we all have a lot more in common than we do that divides us. I think that, not to speak spiritually, but personally, I have to say that the devil loves nothing more than to distract us. Okay? And loves making us lose focus. So I think by what you're providing, again, brings clarity to people and brings focus to people to say, okay, number one, I have confidence that we can really do this as a community. Look at all the wonderful things that are going on. I didn't know about that. I've heard that my whole career. I know Miss Derricka has too. I've heard all the time, when I talk about the Park District, or we show somebody something in the Park District, usually people go, I had no idea. This beautiful concert venue at Levings. I had no idea this swimming pool. The more we can show people and showcase what we have and good examples of unity and what we do, the better. And I think that's the most important thing that you can do, Trinity, moving forward, is just keep instilling hope and keep showing people how to do it.
Thank you so very much. Your perspectives are definitely valued. I just want to bounce off the idea of a lot of people do not know what's going on in the Rockford community. And so often that results in people feeling shame or feeling down when they mention that they're from Rockford. But that is because they don't know about the great things that we have in Rockford, such as the Rockford Park District, the S Club, Mr. Carl Cole. And so the reason why your perspectives are valued is because, once again, you're touching people all over the world. While I am interviewing people in Rockford, Illinois, in our city, the show is on the World Wide Web. So your perspectives, your trials, your tribulations, the love, and your great character is all being poured out to those people. So I just want to say thank you so very much for your time. Thank you so very much for your perspective. And thank you so very much for seeing the Rockford community as a family.
Thank you, Trinity.
Thank you. So when I went to the state fair with the S Club, we performed twice, once earlier in the day and once in the middle of the afternoon. And the program that we had set up, the program that Mr. Cole had set up, was singing poetry, singing poetry, singing poetry. And the main song that we sang was Yes, I Can. And that just empowered the people to know the potential that they have inside of them. And that just empowered the people to know the potential that they have inside of them. And to know that they can do whatever they put their mind to. And that's definitely something that I discovered with the Rockford Park District. I discovered a lot about myself, but I also discovered how to do things. And so another song that we were singing was called Rise Up. And there was a lady in a wheelchair in the back of the room who was just, as it says in the song, broken down and tired. And when she was able to hear our words, when she was able to hear the words of the people from Rockford Park District, to hear the words from the people from the Rockford community, it inspired her to rise up. After our performance, she actually came up to me and shared with me that she was about to give up. She was on her last straw, and it just really blessed her to see young people wanting to be their best selves. And so in Springfield, I'm just really grateful for the exposure that we got and for the way that we were able to touch so many people at once. Because when you go to the when you go to the Springfield State Fair, you go there to get on rides, but a lot of people went there not knowing that they were going to be encouraged. And I went there not knowing that there were so many people who have been waiting and walking around and waiting to just hear a word of encouragement. So that was my experience at the Springfield State Fair, and I say that the reason why I was able to touch so many people is because of who I was shaped by, such as the Rockford Park District, being in it since I was 4 years old, and also being in the S Club, just knowing that we all have potential, we're all characters, but once we know how to maneuver and to better that character is when our legacy, it is when our story can begin. So I thank you for your great character.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you, Trinity. Wow.